Hi everyone, and welcome again to my kitchen. This is Magento, where I aim to introduce you, the Magento community, to you, the Magento community. Today, I have the wonderful pleasure of being joined by Ben Marks. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for finding time in your flight schedule to join me.
Yeah, it's good. You can see I'm actually in the suite on the Air France Airbus 38 now. I'm at home. It's like one of the few times this year I'm home. It's great.
But I'm glad I got you then. So firstly, let's hear a bit about you, just in case people don't know who Ben Marks is.
Right. So I'm a longtime PHP developer. Got started kind of by accident back in the early 2000s. Really straight away with commerce, as it turns out. Um, spent a lot of time dealing with just sort of bespoke PHP solutions and finding my way around, and then eventually finding my way to Magento back in like 2008, just using the software uh, for a place here in town called Blue Acorn. And then eventually, after so many years of, I guess, building up some kind of reputation, I got hired by Magento back in 2014 to sort of lead the evangelism effort and just be kind of at least part of the social glue team. I get the privilege of doing that along with Sherry Rohde, our community manager.
Very cool. But I don't want to talk about Magento today.
It's not important.
There's plenty of other people that talk about Magento. What I'd love to talk about with you is your passion for drumming. Now, if people follow you on Twitter, they'll probably get the fact that you like a bit of drumming. It's that or Magento, I would say, is on your list.
Yeah, and my wife's a pilot, so I kind of enjoy
Oh yeah,
hanging out with her and doing the flying thing a little bit. Except I'm not a pilot at all. I wouldn't trust me to fly a plane. Um, so yeah, it's been my drumming was my creative outlet for since I was a teenager,
hmm
and it has remained. Well, anyone that's been in a conversation with me of any length will eventually notice that either my hand or my feet will start tapping. And
Uh-huh.
if there's a live band around, forget it. Like my attention's half divided.
Okay. So let's go all those years back. How did you get started? What was it that ignited that in
I think it was there. It was there. Just it was nascent, man. It was just in me for a long time. I I remember, Peter Gabriel's Sledgehammer. There was something about that was such a
you?
cool tune. I was like 5 or 6 when it came out, and my older sister, actually she was going to the mall with her friends. My parents were like, "Ben wants this. You have to buy this." And she's like, "I can't be seen buying this." So I had, a vinyl single of Sledgehammer, and I think like "You Be Illin" by, Run DMC. So I was always into something, stuff that had a good beat. And then in middle school in the States, you get a chance. You have to take an arts program, or at least you used to. I think we
Hmm
pretty much killed that off by now. Um, uh, but I wanted to play. I want to play snare drum, and there were already some snare drummers, and my parents already had a clarinet that my sister had played. So Ben played clarinet, and Ben did not enjoy playing clarinet. Now, once I became like professional musician, I actually started to really enjoy jazz. You hear a uh, um, great clarinetist, and you're like, wow, like that's pretty remarkable what they can do, and it becomes a cool instrument. But in my hands, no, it was like like 5-3-1, 5-3-1, yeah, like hot cross buns or something. Um, so eventually, I stole a pair of drumsticks from my friend. He didn't play drums either, so it was okay. And I grabbed a 5-gallon, 20-liter bucket, plastic bucket, from my dad. He did, something from one of his remodeling projects, and it was empty. And I just started, I found his copy of Led Zeppelin 2, right? And that was just that my just blew my hair back. It was like nothing I'd ever heard. I wore through the record, playing it so many times over the years, and I just played along with it, just day after day. And after about a couple years of doing this, my parents both were like, he's never done anything this consistently in his life. Um, so my 15th birthday, they got me a drum set, and were kind enough to just let me play it incessantly.
Mm.
And and by the time I got to college, I picked up with a band, with some kids from town. And then immediately after college, as it turns out, I picked up with another band. It's actually where I moved from North Carolina down to South Carolina, where I live. Was actually with a band, not for any other reason. And as it turns out, the front man from the band, his dad was my music teacher that I played clarinet with. Like, it's a big country man, but we're all really close.
Uh-huh.
So discovering Led Zeppelin, just liking drumming enough to set up a bucket and a couple pots and pans and just play along with it and just enjoy it for so long. That was I guess that's how it all started and continues to this day.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So apart from Led Zeppelin, what would you say have been, or who would you say have been your biggest influences?
Uh, well, I was lucky to work. I worked at a music instrument store in high school. I was doing pro audio repair. Like I kind of just put in a funny application, and the guy running the repair center just thought it was hilarious and taught me how to work on tube amps and solid state amps, and and we got to manage all the music lessons there, and then they would do drum clinics at this place. Now, and this place was right next to like the hot live music venue in town, and it was right next to Wake Forest University. So there was no shortage of good music, and there I got to see this guy Dennis Chambers, who is after John Bonham is just a tremendous influence on my playing. He's a monster player. Any drummer, I would say most drummers should know that name. He's played with everybody. He's played so much that I was there. He was telling the story about because he and Carter Beauford from Dave Matthews Band, another big influence. Just sort of at a glance, you might see some similarities. And Dennis was actually talking about being at home, and he turns on one of the rare times he was home and not playing around the world, and he turns on the TV and sees a Dave Matthews Band video, and he's like, "Man, I don't remember playing this," because he saw the drummer on the screen and was like, thought it was him for a second. But yeah, Carter Beauford is another great drummer from Dave Matthews Band. Carter actually cites Dennis Chambers as a tremendous influence. Carter does a lot better job playing up to Dennis Chambers' level than I do. I just actually bumped in, and because I'd met him a couple times, and we had a couple of common friends. I happened to bump into him in New York in January at NRF. I just was went into a place to get dinner with one of my colleagues. Music place, really famous, the Blue Note. Maceo Parker was there playing, and I was like, well, this will be fun. So we do this, and I thought Dennis had actually showed up last year. He had like his esophagus collapse or something, and he was looking pretty ill, and I didn't think he was really out playing anymore, but there he was on stage, and I basically kind of lost it. Like, wow. Neat running into him.
Cool.
Speaking of Maceo, I got to drop one more. A guy named Kenwood Denard. So if you're a drummer or even a musician at all into funk, pick up a copy of Maceo Parker's Life on Planet Groove. It's a live album recorded in Cologne, Germany, back in, I think, like 92 or something.
Okay.
And it has got a couple of the most amazing funk drum performances ever. If I could go to one live concert, it would have been the ones where those were recorded.
Okay. Cool. All right. So what are you kind of doing now to kind of keep in touch with drums at the moment? Because you're a busy man, so how do you do that? How do you balance both?
Well, if I were more of a professional drummer still, I mean, I made my money from drumming for probably for a couple of years. It's pretty easy to do here in town if you're a decent musician and especially if you can pick up with cover bands. But if I were a consummate professional, I would have my sticks with me, and I would, it's a great practice technique is actually drumming on pillows.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because they don't have any rebounds, so you have to do the rebound yourself, and you actually can train your muscles a little bit better. I mean, I still have like fast twitch muscles in my wrist, so I can still do okay, but it's just whenever I get a gig these days, I usually get this idea in my head for a drum fill, and then I go for it, and my hands just don't keep up. So nowadays I'm more of a pocket player. But in general, like I said earlier, like I'm always drumming. If I hear music, it's just that the drums are in my head. I do a lot of vocalization of drumming. It's actually a technique. Probably the most, I guess maybe the most formalized version is soukatu, which is if you are a percussionist in India, if you really are going to become a famous or practicing musician, like drummer in India, your parents will drop you off at the master's house, and you will spend years just cleaning his or her bathroom. Well, I guess mostly there is his bathroom. And then at night, you'll sit down with the master, and he'll train you. But for like 5 years, you don't even touch a drum. You just do this thing called soukatu, and it's like, and you learn how to vocalize what you will play. And that actually translates pretty well. It prepares your mind to phrase things, I guess, from a drumming standpoint. So, that's always going on in my head too. And then, of course, just being around me, you will see me start to tap my hands. Which, incidentally, next time you're out in a crowd, do an experiment. Just start. If you're just in the middle of a conversation, just just start tapping on something, and look at how many people around you start doing the same thing. It is in our DNA.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. I think I might try that some next time. Okay. I'll blame you if it goes bad.
It's a fun social experiment. I mean, you don't want to do it too obviously. Like, you don't want to just like start, tapping on your leg or something.
Okay.
And see what people do.
Very cool. All right. And do you have your own equipment at home? Do you practice really still, or how is it?
Yeah, so I've got my my bag of sticks and tricks. I carry around, and so another great drummer out there, a buddy of mine from growing up. His dad was a band leader and put on concerts, and I actually have a drumstick that Buddy Rich played with. Buddy Rich is probably every day around the world. There are probably thousands of who's the best drummer of all time discussions. If the drumming world had to settle on one, it would be Buddy Rich for sure. I would say I have my full kit. When I graduated from college, I got a little money. Immediately went out and bought this professional Yamaha Maple Custom set. It's beautiful. It's kind of beat up now, but piano black, gold hardware, and I made more money with that by far than I ever did with the psychology degree that I graduated with.
Okay, cool. And then something completely different than current drumming, but did you watch Whiplash last year? If so, as a drummer, what did you think?
Oh man, so that was funny. I spend most of my time on planes, right? In fact, we were trying to figure out how many nights I spent in a hotel last year, and I'm like, it was only about 150 or something. Like, that doesn't seem right. It seems like I was gone more than that. And then my wife pointed out, she's like, yeah, but like, literally 30 or 40 nights you were flying overnight on a plane somewhere. So when you do that, you get exposed to all of the cinema offerings of all the different airlines out there, right? Because I really can't be tasked with maintaining my own personal video library. As it is, I should be working when I'm on planes, and I do okay at that, but every once in a while I need to decompress. So I was tired one night, and I was just going through, and I saw this Whiplash thing, pulled up the description, like, yeah, okay, I'd fall asleep to that. No way. And I was like, just riveted. I've never had to deal with the competitive, like, professional music set. That scene is just something I didn't ever have to know, and I'm in some ways I'm glad. I probably don't have the salt. Well, maybe I don't have the salt to stick something like that out. That cutthroat world where you're trying to get, where you're trying to just you're scrapping for gigs and you're living off of nothing. But it grabbed me. It spoke to me as a musician, and it just as watching that kid's passion and watching his struggle to be an artist. Also, the music grabbed me,
Yeah.
that kind of cutthroat, that personality that the lead plays. Let me see, what is his name? He's such a fantastic actor. Let's see. Yeah, we'll look on IMDb. That's usually a good one here. What is? Come on, J.K. Simmons. Yeah, J.K. Simmons. As an actor, I've enjoyed his work on Law and Order and everything, but yeah, he just does such a great job. And the evolution of his character and like the stuff he tries to pull, and then he gets it handed to him, and then it's like, oh, this is what I wanted all along. I'm just basically beating this kid into a
Yeah.
superstar. Uh, yeah, everything about that movie just really, yeah, that got me going. So yeah, I I saw it and I enjoyed it.
Nice. Well, I think that about covers up. I think people will see this and say, awesome. That's what Ben's into. It's not just Magento. We're glad to have you in the Magento community. So happy that you're here. But it's also awesome that it's not just about Magento in your life, which is cool. So yeah, thank you so much for joining me and being interesting.
It's my pleasure.
And as a little reward, I guess, is there anything coming up in the next couple of months that you'd like to put a bit of focus on?
Yeah, well, I'll be in a lot of places for sure, and it shouldn't, I guess, shouldn't let this opportunity go without thanking you for doing this because this is just, this is part of that rich tapestry, this rich tapestry of Magento community. We get together and we Magento, right? We Magentify things, but we enjoy each other's company. If you've not been to an event, or if you know a lot of the personalities but you just don't know how to connect, just reach out. I mean, you can see this guy David. He started doing this thing, and
I'm not doing
it's
it well, but I'm doing
so that's the thing. You're doing it, and in so doing, it is sort of just wellness embodied. There we go. It's wellness embodied. Um,
it.
it all contributes, and so just please make sure you reach out and connect. Now, coming up, we have Mage on Conf.
Hmm.
That's a great opportunity, especially if you're new to speaking. It's a chance to come out, and there's no pre-planned talks. You can show up. If you're going to deliver a talk, I'd say pick a cool subject and practice.
Mm.
But that's on the 12th and 13th in Berlin. We got Meet Magento Sweden coming up in Stockholm the 14th. I'll be in Ireland actually doing a big user group meetup with hopefully with the PHP user group as well as the Magento user group. That'll be on the 15th of March. Um, and then of course Meet Magento Prague
Ooh,
on the 30th. Like if as if you need enough reason to go to Prague. Now there's going to be this
that is
great
it. Oh
Magento
wow.
thing, and I did a user group thing last year with Neklo, the main organizer. Great team. I have high hopes. This will be a really high quality first time offering. And of course, we've got Imagine coming up. So if you're not signed up, if you can get there to Vegas, Vegas maybe not my favorite place in the world, but when everyone from Magento is there, it makes it better. There's a hackathon starting on Saturday. There's a Hoover Dam run on Sunday, and then there's also Pre-Imagine Sunday night. So lots of things going on. Keep an eye on the Magento website. We've got an events calendar, which has our events as well as community events.
Cool.
And stay tuned to Mr. Manner's channel and keep abreast of all of the personalities that we are wonderfully lucky to have.
Nice. Awesome. Well, thank you very much for joining me, and thank you very much for watching. And tune in next time for another Magent. Bye bye.